This hour as a grateful people, grateful for the life that you have given to each one of us, grateful for this free land in which we live, and for the faith of our fathers whose vision is both our heritage and our hope. Grateful for the high aspiration of world brotherhood, which is our challenge in work, worship, and this fellowship. Grateful that we might, as Rotarians, employ all that we are in service to our fellow man. For all these, we offer to you our thanks as we share these moments at our table as your people. Amen.
Thank you, Glenn. As everybody takes their seats, I'll invite Chase Heatherly up here to welcome our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. We are fortunate to have one visiting Rotarian with us today, Mr. Tom Ledbetter, if you will stand and recognized. He is visiting for the West Metro Club. Welcome, Tom. Glad to have you join the Club Rotary today. Anyone who has a guest, if you'll please stand along with your guests. We will appreciate that. Someone will pass around the microphone. Please feel free to introduce your guests.
Marty Mayback, my guest today is Alex Gray. Alex is a CPA with Buck Knight, Peterson Stormer here in Columbia.
Good afternoon. My guest is Mr. Vince Ford. He is the Community Health Officer for Prisma. Prisma. And Mr. Ford is also for 24 years, a member of the Board of Commissioners for Richmond 1 and Old Region.
Good afternoon, I'm David Reneker, and I have with me today Vicki Wood. Vicki's the branch manager of the Casey office for Prescott Bank.
I'm Libby Gober, and I have as my guest Cheryl Swanson. Cheryl is Vice President of our Convention Center.
I'm Jerry Pate, and my guest today is Tom McDonald, and he is with Tucker Materials.
Kirk Johnson, I want to say it's good to see Vince Ford back. He was a long-time member of this club. I have as my guest Cindy Perdue. She's with Smith Clay Line. She was in our Charleston office for 3 years, and we're fortunate to have her working up in Columbia. Thank you.
Is that everyone? Anyone else? All right, let's give one more round of applause for our visitors.
Thank you, Chase. It's good to have so many visitors and guests with us today. We hope you'll come back and hope you like what you see here at the Columbia Rotary Club. Past President Roger Stroup is here today to offer our health and happiness. Roger.
Thank you, President Stephen. Have a few bad news things to let you know about. Ed Greenleaf, who was an on-leave member of this club, passed away yesterday. We don't have any details on that yet. And Dick DeWitt, who was a longtime pastor at First Presbyterian Church, I know many of you have a connection there, also passed away yesterday. And Jack Sloan, who's been in the hospital for about 10 days recovering from surgery. Liddy tells me he's not doing great, but he's doing better. So please keep all these folks in your thoughts and your prayers as well. And we'll take a moment to do a little personal health and happiness. I've been gone for a number of weeks. Our first grandchild was born 4 weeks ago. And that's our first and probably our last, because our daughter is 40, her husband's 48. So we've got one, that's all we wish for. And when Jay came out of the living room to tell us, he said, we asked, well, what's the name? Because they were keeping that secret. And he said, Elise Margot, Elyse Margaux. And my wife said, well, that's not any family names. Where did that come from? He said, she's named after 2 wives. And my wife says, my granddaughter's named after 2 wives. And he said, yes, each of them are wives that were very special at one time or another in our relationship. So we thought, that's okay. That works. We can live with that as well. By the way, is Carl Roberts here today? This is his 40th wedding anniversary. Don't forget that if you're here. I thought what I'd do today is tell you a little bit about something I got involved with, and it all started with a hearse about 35 or 40 years ago when I was working at the State Museum. We collected the hearse for use in an exhibit on the country store, and it sits beside the country store on the 4th floor of the museum now. And from that, we sort of evolved an exhibit on funeral mourning customs, which, it helps if I turn it on, which is also on the 4th floor. I'll tell you a funny story about that. The wall behind it is purple, and many of you knew Guy Lipscomb. Guy was the chairman of the museum for many, many years. And he was walking in one day and he looked at that purple wall and he came to me and he said, "What's that purple wall for?" I said, "Well, it's a wall on funeral, it's going to be an exhibit on funeral and mourning customs." And Guy said, "You know, I don't think that's very interesting. Are we really doing an exhibit on that?" And we said, "Yeah, we've planned it and you guys have already approved the whole package." And he said, "Well, I don't know." You know, he said, "I don't think that'll be very interesting to people." And we talked about it a while and he told me, he says, "Well, we'll see." Well, he came to me about a year after the museum opened, and he said, "You know, I'm wrong." He said, "I've been watching people in that area." And he said, "It's wonderful to watch, particularly grandparents, talk with their grandchildren and tell them, I remember this, I remember that," because many of the things have changed. If you've not seen the exhibit, it has things like post-mortem photographs, cooling boards, embalming supplies and containers and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do today, and there's a flyer on your table. I'm doing a program at the Archives and History Center next Tuesday night on funeral mourning customs in South Carolina, which will be much more detailed. But I want to talk a little bit today about epitaphs, which to me are kind of interesting if you've ever watched them. Some of you, I'm sure, recognize the north side of First Presbyterian Church, particularly the Grand. He ought to recognize it. He has to take care of it. If you look there, you'll see lots of big monuments. These are from the 1840s and 50s primarily as well. And it's always interesting to look at epitaphs. If you've not done that, you probably need to spend a little time doing it. Because on down that walkway, you'll find many, which are these big obelisks, and all four sides of that panel have writing on it as to what the person did during their life in there. My favorite is one which is sitting there, and it's this one, memory of Robert Latta, who was an important merchant here in Columbia before the war. And the tombstone, the only thing it says on it beside his name and date is it says on it, "Verses on tombstones are but idly spent. The living character is the monument." He's sort of thumbing his nose at all these monuments around him with lots of big epitaphs on it. So kind of an interesting thing to look at. Well, I thought what I'd do is share with you some interesting epitaphs from around. And a few of them I'm going to show you because they're a little more easy to see that way in here. This is one from Albany, New York. Born 1903, died 1942. Looked up the elevator shaft to see if the car was on the way down. It was. In the Thurmont, Maryland cemetery, here lies an atheist, all dressed up and no place to go. On the grave of Ezekiel Achiel in Nova Scotia, here lies Ezekiel Achiel, age 102. Only the good die young. In New Mexico, here lies Johnny Yeast. Pardon him for not rising. In Uniontown, Pennsylvania, here lies the body of Jonathan Blake. Stepped on the gas instead of the brake. In Silver City, Nevada, here lays the kid. We planted him raw. He was quick on the trigger, but slow on the draw. In the cemetery in England, on the 22nd of June, Jonathan Fiddle went out of tune. And from the 1880s in Nantucket, Massachusetts. Let me show you this one first. This is a lawyer's epitaph in England. Sir John Strange. Here lies an Irish lawyer, and that is strange. This one is from England. Reader, if cash thou art in want of any, dig 6 feet deep, and thou wilt find a penny. And my favorite is one that goes along with the theme which we're all familiar with, that remember that you are dust and to dust you shall return. This one's in England. It says, remember man as you walk by, as you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so shall you be. Remember this and follow me. To which someone replied by writing on the tombstone, to follow you I'll not consent until I know which way you went. Have a great week.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate all the time you put into that. It's really good. And congratulations on your new grandchild. That's fantastic. We're going to take 5 minutes and do a table social, so enjoy the conversation at your tables, and we'll be back shortly.
Yeah, it's okay.
everybody enjoyed that and a chance to chat with your fellow club members a little bit. Cynthia Giles is going to make a quick announcement to us about World Polio Day.
I won't make a comment. How are you guys doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm reporting on behalf of our district. Our district is getting together for World Polio Day, which is October 24th. It is a Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the State House. They are asking for as many Rotarians as possible to show up for a picture. And we want everybody to wear a red t-shirt. If you do not have an End Polio Now Rotary t-shirt, you can purchase those t-shirts online. I will make sure to send out the link in the email on Friday. But please mark your calendar. It is a free event, and we're trying to get as many people as possible to make the entire State House show up as red. So let's get together and end polio together.
What time? What time?
1 p.m. on 10/24.
Thank you, Cynthia. You're doing a great job of keeping the club informed on everything. And Cynthia and Louisa just got back from the district training down in Charleston on the 21st of September. So it's good to be in the loop of what's going on district-wide, and appreciate all your efforts there. A couple of club announcements. Our board met last week on Thursday. And as I told you at the beginning of the year, I wanted to keep you posted on the comings and goings of the club and the board meetings, just so you know what's going on and you don't bump into people in the grocery store and realize they've resigned from the club or anything else. So wanted to let you know that the board approved the resignation of Joan Hoffman. Joan was a longtime member of the club, and unfortunately she's resigned. So I just want to make you aware of that. The board also approved a 6-month leave of absence for John Johnston, past President John Johnston. John's real busy right now and has a lot going on, so if you see him in the community, just let him know we'd love to have him back whenever he's off of his leave of absence. The second quarter of the Rotary year, the fourth quarter of the calendar year, invoices for that period of time, October through December, are going out soon. So when you see those, please take a look at them and pay promptly. We have had a low operating account for the last well, it's been a while now, and until we raise a little bit of money with this bocce tournament on April 27th, it's probably going to be that way. So just want to remind everybody to pay your bills promptly. Cart fund. Cart buckets are sitting on your table. Please give generously to the cart fund. I'll tell you, we looked at those numbers last week at the board meeting, and the amounts that have been given are down a little bit. Roger Ackerman, we announced this from the podium a couple of times. He passed away last month. His services were over in Sumter. He's the founder of the Cart Fund, so if you want to give a gift in memory of Roger, that would certainly be appropriate. It's something I've done, and I would encourage all of you to do as well if the cart is a passion of yours. And that is pretty much it from the board meeting. And now it is Billy Canty's turn to come and take the microphone. He is going to introduce our speaker today. I forgot one other announcement. Rusty gave me this. This should be on everybody's table. The following members of the Columbia Rotary Club do not have pictures on the website. So if you do not have a picture, please call Robin or Rusty, and so we can have a current website with everybody's photos loaded. Thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I have the privilege today to introduce Miss Nancy Smith, who's the manager of the South Carolina State Fair. And as my friend Wayne Cannon says to y'all a lot, I hope you read your Rotarian magazine. Well, you probably read the emails that came out, and you see the thing up on Nancy on the slide. So I'm going to try to give you a little bit of more information on Nancy. She was born in St. Matthews. She has a house in Columbia and has redone an antebellum home in St. Matthews. It kind of lives between. Nancy started in the Home and Crafts Department of the Fair and worked full-time starting in 2000. She was promoted to assistant manager in 2008 and manager in January of this year. So she's been there about 10 months now as a manager. Nancy's very active in the IAFE, that's the International Association of Fairs and Expositions. She's been the Zone 2 Director and presently on the Executive Committee and will be the President of the IAFE in 2020, coming up. And I go with the board, go to the IAFE conventions every year, and I can tell everyone here Nancy is very highly regarded in the IAFE and in all the fair community. And then a little bit of other information about Nancy. that not in her bio. As we know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Nancy was instrumental. If y'all remember, a couple years ago we had the Pink Fair. The fair was a big success and recognized around the country, and Nancy was a big part of planning that and running it. Nancy's also an avid bird watcher. She travels around the country and looking for birds, and I've heard she's seen about 25,000 different types of birds. And Nancy's also a wonderful cook. And then finally, it's Gary Goodman, who was the manager for the last 33 years of the fair. Nancy's mom just had her 102nd birthday, so we're all expecting Nancy to be around for a long time. And from working with Nancy for the past 10 years or so with the fair, I know she has lots of information and has lots to tell y'all, so if y'all give her a warm Rotary welcome to Nancy Smith.
Thank you, Billy. I didn't know where he was going when he said that's not in my bio, so you never know. Yeah, my mom just celebrated her 102nd birthday Thursday, and in case y'all are wondering, I am the baby. No doubt about that. That was a funny story. Gary, I would drive Gary crazy on a regular basis. His office was our offices were right across from each other, and when we would really kind of get aggravated, although we loved each other very much, I'd say, Gary, and he'd say, what? I said, guess what? He said, what? I said, I could live forever. And he said, that's exactly what I'm afraid of. And now here it's come to pass. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be with you folks today. And I thought, well, what a way to start off October. October is the month for the 149th edition of the South Carolina State Fair. And I know you've probably talked about this, but first I wanted just to remind you folks, and can everyone hear me? Yes. That was something else Gary's always told me. No one ever has any trouble hearing you, Nancy. So that's just part of who I am. But we're looking forward to having our first ever Rotary Day at the fair this year. That's going to be Thursday, October the 18th. And I know the folks from Main Street Rotary came to talk to us about that a little bit. And we're going to try to get some Rotary folks in the Guinness Book of World Records and form the longest human text message. I think that's what it is. So we only need about 380 or 90 of you great Rotarians to do that. So you can make history at the 149th State Fair. So looking forward to having you there. I always think maybe talk about the fair a little bit, and I thought as soon as I came in here I saw Roger Stroop. So woof. Watch out, you know, Roger is our esteemed historian, and he's writing first ever history of the fair. So I'm going to give a few facts about the history. I told Roger not to call me out if I get anything incorrect, but I always think start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. For those of you who don't know, we are the State Agricultural and Mechanical Society of South Carolina, doing business as the South Carolina State Fair. We were founded in 1869, and that was because a group of people, farmers and such, got together in South Carolina and tried to do something about the mass exodus out west. So we had they thought we had a lot to offer here. So they petitioned the legislature for a charter, and in 1869 that was granted. That was preceded by two other charters, one in 1855 and one in 1861. So we are governed by a board with representation from each congressional district. And the mission of the fair is to promote the material, agricultural, educational, and industrial interests of the state of South Carolina. So that's a big mouthful, kind of touches everything that we're all about. But fair's roots are in agriculture. All fair's roots have always been in agriculture, and that's something that's very near and dear to our hearts. You know, and we have to do that in ingenious ways. I'll talk to you a little bit about how we do that at the South Carolina State Fair. The first fair was held on Elmwood Drive at that time, and that's where the old Logan School is right now. That was the first location for the fair. And in my reading a little bit, Roger, I did find out that I guess that took off very well, and it was growing. And I think in the late 1870s, The area right there was already full, so Main Street, the folks in Main Street allowed the carnival and the midway part of the fair to take place down what was on Main Street at that time. So, and one interesting tidbit about those first fairs in 1876, you folks can thank J. Washington Watts for the fair of 1876 because there was a lot of stuff going on there that people didn't have fairs on their minds, as in Reconstruction and other things. And our charter says we had to have an annual agricultural exposition consecutively. So J. Washington Watts did not want that to happen, so he loaded up his cows, pigs, chickens, and goats and paraded them around the arena on Elmwood Drive. So we can thank J. Washington Watts for the fair of 1876. So, and here we are. And now we moved to our present location right across the street here in 1904. That's been a lot of changes going on in that area since that time. We're about 113 acres or so over there and have a lots going on. And this is our 149th. And as I said, next year we'll celebrate something big. And that is our 150th. We'll talk about that a little bit. And by the way, I'm glad y'all have a clock down here because I get wound up talking about the fair. I told Billy he might give me times up, but I have my clock right in front of me, so that's very good. So we're looking forward to a big celebration next year for our 150th. But when I think about the fair, you know, I know you folks know the fair comes to town. We're 12 days out of the year, and that this year is October 10 through 21. The fair also has facility rentals. You've probably been to the home show, the boat show, or the Harry Hampton Classic, or maybe a private function at the fairgrounds. We do rent the facilities out for the fairgrounds. And then we do a little thing called parking for football over there in our big lot. And we also do some tailgating at the Rocket. So that's always a fun time, especially when we have fair and football, which happens to be the case on October the 13th this year. So just a forewarning for you folks. But those are three components of the fair. But something that I really wanted to make sure, if you don't remember anything I say today about the fair, I hope you will remember this. And I think it's a common misconception because our name is the South Carolina State Fair. But we are not a state agency. We are a 501c3 self-supporting charitable organization dedicated to educating South Carolina's young adults. Someone said, how many times have you said that, Nancy? I said, as many times as I need to get our message out about the fair. But we just got our posters in. The fair gives $300,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors that attend an in-state school or university. So I thought this is really great. We have a big one made that'll be coming in, and you can view this at the fair as well. But when you come to the fair and you ride those rides and eat all that yummy food that we're going to talk about, you're making a difference in South Carolina's future. We award 50 individual $6,000 scholarships to graduating seniors that attend an in-state school or university. So if any of you have anyone that's going to fit that bill, you need to get on the website in February and see how you can help them prepare to apply for the South Carolina State Fair Ride of Your Life Scholarship. And I will have to say this, I know Billy's here, Billy's been a part of Rotary, but Billy's dad, Bill Canny, was our immediate past president. And Bill just, as you know, just passed away. We lost a great fair person. But Billy, I just had to say this because I know they honored your dad so well at his service. But I know he's smiling on us today here at Rotary, and I just wanted him to know that the fact that the fair is giving back for scholarships was always one thing that was very near and dear to his heart. So remember that, and to know that when you come to the fair, you are making a difference in South Carolina's future. So the fair, your fair, the South Carolina State Fair, is the largest event in the state. We're approximately 500,000 over our 12-day run. As far as fairs go, in the big scheme of things, there are about 2,000 fairs over North America, across North America. Your fair ranks number 39 in attendance-wise, so that's pretty good for South Carolina. You know, we're not that large a state, so but people like our fair, and they come and have a good time at our fair. We're a little bit different in, I say one thing that I always said, Gary and I always kidded about this, that in order to be in this industry, because we only get 12 days to make it or break it, you kind of have to be not quite right, because you have to endure that. That's a compliment for us in the fair industry, because we only get 12 days to make it or break it. So we go from 21 full-time employees on a regular basis to about 450 employees when fair time comes. So, and when I walked over here today, I thought, wow, you know, it really is a testament to our board and our staff and the great job that the staff does. When you think about a week from Wednesday, the fair will be here, and you know, you really don't see too much going on right there, but you folks can know that you got a great staff working behind your South Carolina State Fair. And when Billy mentioned that we're a member of an international association, I'm thinking you folks may have thought, well, what does that matter? You know, does that really make a difference to us in South Carolina? Representation from every county in the state of South Carolina represented. So that's really, it's really a kind of a melting pot of everything. We have local chefs and lots of folks that come and demonstrate for us. And we also have a lot of involvement with 4-H and FFA. And I want to just talk about that just a little bit and tell you how important that is, because Fair's roots are in agriculture, and with less than 2% of American families involved in farming, it really is very important now more than ever for us to get our word out about agriculture. And we do that in ingenious ways. We have a little barnyard chicken coop over there, a traveling barnyard cackle review where the chickens pop up. It's entertaining. It's giving some facts about the poultry business and chickens, but kids are learning at the same time. When they come to see the 10,000 balloon structure over there, this year it's going to be an agricultural barn dance, so they get to find out a little bit about that. We work with the South Carolina Farm Bureau. They give scholarships in beef, dairy, swine, and other things. They're very involved in that. And we also worked with the American Farm Bureau for Agriculture to have a program called From Field, which is an ear of corn, to Fair, which is a corn dog, and that's kind of trying to tell the kids, how does an ear of corn get to be a corn dog? So those are the kind of things, I guess you can tell I'm a real fair person because that really excites me. But I'll tell you one story that really brings it all home was last year. Because, you know, lots of kids don't have room, or either they don't have the resources to have a cow or a pig or a goat maybe, but now they do have time and they do have space and maybe the resources to have a chicken or a rabbit. So we started out the poultry showmanship. This is for the youth. Years ago, we started with 3 chickens that came, 3 kids and 3 chickens. Last year, that was in Hampton Plaza over there. I walked through the poultry showmanship only to come up from the back side. We had 72 kids there. And I've had cats and dogs. I don't know how many of y'all have. And I know chickens are a big thing now, but I like chickens, but I've never, you know, had them and been around. Well, I walked up and this little guy was sitting in a lawn chair. He was probably about 8 years old. He had his notes in front of him, and you could tell he was just kind of studying the notes right here. The chicken was perched on the side of the chair right here. He was studying his notes and just doing this. He was patting the chicken and studying his notes. And I watched, and I thought it was all these kids, and what the great thing was, it was kids and moms and dads were there as well. But the best part of that, I think, is when you have an opportunity to be involved in the kids that have some experience with 4-H and FFA, that child learned responsibility, maybe that others would not have an opportunity to learn. They had to learn the responsibility of raising that chicken, taking care of that chicken, bringing that chicken to the fair, and then showing the chicken. They had to know everything about that chicken. They had to present the chicken to the judges. So I'm telling you that. I see some of y'all saying, this woman is crazy, and where did she come from? But I can't tell you how much we've seen the difference that those types of things have made in young kids' lives. It teaches them some life lessons, and it also gives them an opportunity to be able to present to people and to talk to people. So that's the part about the agricultural aspect that's so important. And you need to know that your fair is always in on that, and we won't let that go by the side of the way. But this year, right into the agricultural aspect, the theme of this year's fair is homegrown fun. I think all of you have a fan and maybe a little map on your table there. The fan on one side says the grandstand artists, so we've got a great lineup. However, I have some breaking news for you. If you wanted to go see Fantasia, sold out. And she's been sold out for almost 2 weeks. When I left the office, I was telling them, I heard Sharon say, no ma'am, she's sold out. And no ma'am, she sold out. Sharon said, the lady said, well, can I go online and get tickets? No ma'am, she sold out. Can I come to the fair and get tickets? No ma'am, she sold out. So that's a really good thing. The temps and the tops are going to be with us this year. We have a really good lineup for that, and as you can see, we really try to have something for everyone at the fair. This year, we've done a few different things. We have the Latino artist that's going to be with us. They're really excited about promoting that event. We're going to have a fashion show before that event. So that's the first time we've had that in a while. We're very excited to bring that to our patrons here. And then Tokyo Joe is local. I told the board, I said, okay, if this is a flop, you can blame me because that was my idea. So, but we're very excited. He was at the Coker Center and he's going to do an Elton John tribute show. So lots of different people and artists to pick from if you're interested in Grandstand. And then the flip side of that is something that we're very excited about. This, who is Fred? Follow the fun, ride the rides, eat the food, and dazzle the mind. That's Fred. Fred is the first ever in the fair industry, so we'll probably win an IAFE award, Billy, for that one, I hope. Traveling ticket booth, but more than selling tickets, you can buy admission and ride tickets from Fred as well as concert tickets. But more than that, before the fair gets here, Fred will have been in 18 different places around Columbia, and I think Fred was in Blytheswood one day as well. It's been really neat to see Fred evolving and everything that Fred has done. So hopefully, before this is over with, next year for our 150th, we're going to have a Fred mascot. So it's been exciting. Fred was at Oct1st2018, and everyone was lined up to see Fred. You can spin the wheel and win some fun prizes with Fred, but that's new this year. You can also get your tickets at participating Circle K stores. You can go online at SC State Fair, or if you're really hot to trot, you can just walk right across over here to the early bird ticket window and you can buy your tickets. So, and you can just have all the homegrown fun you'd like at the fair. So we've got some new things going and some new ways to purchase your tickets there, but we're excited about it. Along with that, we really like to, from the fair standpoint for what's going on this year, last year was our first year with a partnership with McKissick Museum, and we were able to bring the Heritage Award winners to the South Carolina State Fair. They're on with us again with that. They'll be in Rosewood area of the fairgrounds every day during the fair. They've got some great bluegrass artists, some potters. The yarn farmers are going to be here. They're going to do some stuff on the palmetto trees out there, and then you can take your hand at doing a little drumming and some other fun stuff during the run of the fair. Columbia Choral Society will be with us this year. That's new. And Broadway in Columbia is going to have a little part with us. The Carole King musical, Beautiful, is coming to town. And the star from that musical will be with us at the fair. Those are all new things. If you want to try your hand at conducting the Philharmonic, we'll have the folks from Conduct the Phil there one day in the Canty building. So you can come and raise the baton and have some fun doing that as well. We'll also have some border collies there at the fair. They'll be herding ducks and sheep. That's 2 days at the fair, along with all of our other great agricultural exhibits and lots of fun things going on. We're bringing back the petting zoo. We haven't had a petting zoo in the last several years, so that's coming back to the fair. That'll be down Academic Avenue. And then soon you will see some dinosaurs arrive. I think they're coming tomorrow in the Hampton Plaza. The animatronic dinosaurs is the only outdoor dinosaur exhibit. They're coming to us from California. Keeping it with our educational aspect, it's really entertaining, but it's also educational. There'll be a dig pit there for you. And then, of course, our ever popular 75-ton sand sculpture. That's going to be in the back of the roof building this year, and that will be a Jurassic journey of some kind, since it's right there close to the dinosaurs. We'll have chainsaw carving this year. That's new. We've not had a chainsaw carver in quite some time, so they'll be back. They'll be down Academic Avenue. And then we have constructed a little kind of strange little heritage village there of our own, right in front of the Moore building, which is an odd little place to have that, but we've got so much homegrown fun, we don't have enough room to put it. So we have our little heritage village right there in front of the Moore building. You can have, it's a tinsmith there, a blacksmith, a potter, a bowl turner, and some old-timey medicine show in that area as well. So we've got some different things this year going on. That's some of the great entertainment at the fair. And of course, the burning question in everyone's heart and mind when the fair comes around is, what is the new ride at the fair? So the new ride this year is the Frisbee. That's the new adult ride for the fair. I know it's the first time it's ever been at our fair, but I'm thinking, I can't say it because it's not totally been revealed, but I think it's the first time this ride's ever been on the East Coast. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be great, along with our Crazy Mouse. The Crazy Mouse was not with us last year, but have no fear, the Crazy Mouse will be back this year. And then we have 4 or 5 new kiddie rides that will be with us also. And then along the lines of the food, I think you see it here. If you like maybe some red beans and rice sundae, that's the same people that did the shrimp and grits sundae last year. It was pretty good. That one sounds pretty good to me. Then the Frito chili pie burger, I'm not really sure about that one. Same people that did the Krispy Kreme donut burger will be doing that one, so you can try it. Maple cotton candy, that's pretty interesting. I can't quite get my taste buds around how that's going to taste, but I think we're only the second fair to try that. And then the apple dumpling, that does sound good. The cinnamon roll people are doing that. It'll be an apple encased in some nice flaky pastry, baked to perfection, topped with some caramel sauce and a dollop of vanilla ice cream. So what more could you want? And of course, we will also have the staples, which will be fish fries and the elephant ears, the Daly's corn dogs, and the Bailey's Pronto Pups. It just would not be a fair without all of those yummy things. So there'll be, have no fear, I think you'll be able to find something. And I did mention that we'll be having our lunch program this year at the fair, and that is where, in case you're not familiar with that, that's where you can give us $10, which is fair entrance between the hours of 12 and 2. If you exit by 2 o'clock, you get your $10 back, and you will have had 2 hours to come in there and eat all the yummy food and ride all those great rides that you can. We did that to draw the professionals from around town, and if you it works, because I see people walking around in their heels, and the guys with their coats and ties on. So it's a good thing. So you'll be able to do that again this year at the fair. So those are some of the fun things that will be at the fair this year. I did want to let you know, don't forget that this is the 2018 fair, but Roger, as I said, Roger Stroop, your own esteemed Rotarian here, has written the first ever history of the South Carolina State Fair. We've been working with Roger for several years to accomplish this. We're very excited about it. I think it says a lot about any entity that can say they've been around for 150 years. And Roger's uncovered some really great stories. We're going to have a little bit of memorabilia about the 150th fair, at this year's fair, and then you'll be seeing a little birthday card and some other things to get you going, and all the exciting things that's going to be happening at the 150th fair. I told Gary, I said, gee, Gary, thanks. You know, I get to come in here like following you after 33 years, and not only do I get to plan this year's fair, but you can't plan 150th fair in 1 year. So we're kind of having to do 2 fairs in 1 year. So we're very excited to be able to bring that to everyone in South Carolina. So look for some more great things. We'll be taking in home and craft. Our art is already in now. We were up like 600 entries in our art this year. So we have one of the greatest, one of the finest art shows on the East Coast at the South Carolina State Fair. So there's a lot to be, you have a lot to be proud of at your South Carolina State Fair. It's a very interesting place to work. But I think it's one of the greatest industries around. I guess I'm a little bit partial of that. I know when Gary hired me there, it was always, I think it was the first job I ever had that I knew it was never, well, I'll take that back. It was the first place I'd ever worked where I knew it was never a job, it was always a career. So I think we have, it's a little bit corny, but the fair has an opportunity to bring 12 days of fun to people. We have an opportunity to bring something positive to people, and I think more now than ever we need that, and it is my prayer and our hope that we will have a great, safe fair, and that people will be able to come out and they will be able to enjoy themselves and just have some fun together. And I know I do have a couple of minutes, so I think I wanted to read something, then I think we probably have a couple of minutes for questions too. But I wanted to read this because I could not say it any better than Jim Tucker, who was a former president of our International Association. This was an article that was in the Wall Street Journal, and it just encapsulates everything I think that fairs are all about, and our fair in particular. Fairs provide a unique opportunity for families to have fun. The foundation of fairs, which is agricultural education, reinforces the values of a work ethic and honest competition. Fairs are more crucial to the well-being of their communities than ever before. Stroll the aisles of high school photography, of quilts made from months of a life running out of time, of blackberry jelly jars born from deliberation and love, of poems by sixth graders that will make you wonder, of watercolors that you did not know your neighbor could paint. Visit the livestock barn and watch a hip bone high kid coax an uncooperative Jersey around a show ring and then try to keep his hoofs straight and in place for the judge's inspection. You can't read this one in a book or find it on a city street. You have to lay eyes on it. You have to touch it. You have to feel it. You have to smell it. You have to be there if you're really going to get it. Fairs are the connection between dinner on the table and the hard work ethic of farm production agriculture that keeps us fed. Fairs showcase that hard work ethic with every kid that's striving for excellence in that show ring and every grandma that's vowing to outdo last year's stack of ribbons for pies. So folks, when we throw open our gates for the 149th edition of the South Carolina State Fair, we open a reservoir of experiences that create traditions upon which people's lives are built. Our communities and our state will be with us here to absorb all of that, hopefully to have a great time, to bring their families out, to be a part of a tradition, and to just have 12 days of fun. But people's lives will be fuller, and we, as your board and as your staff of the South Carolina State Fair, will consider that we've done our jobs well if we can accomplish that. So we hope to see you folks at the 149th Fair, October 10 through 21, and appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about an industry that you can tell I really don't really care much about. So, thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Noble.
Nancy, in full disclosure, I'm a huge advocate for the fair, but I was most impressed, I think, with the economic impact of the fair. If you could mention that, because I know you mentioned that you staff up to like, what, almost 500 people, and those are local people that are hired.
Right.
But if you could talk a little bit about the economic impact, I think for this group that would be impressive.
Thank you, Libby. Yeah, we're getting ready to hopefully be approved to do another little an updated economic impact study about the fair. But I think some things that people don't realize about that is we do go from 21 to 450, but the fair's like 500,000 people. But we have all of our concessionaires that buy all of their things locally here, not to mention the propane, the gas, and everyone that comes into the fair is utilizing those things. I know sometimes other folks, we may not be the most popular kid on the block sometimes when the fair comes in, but we do bring lots of people in. We bring lots of people through our judges and our entertainers to stay in places in the hotels in the city of Columbia and beyond. And every parcel of that pretty much touches Columbia. One story is the fact that one of our concessionaires uses a particular company here, the meat market, to get his meat, and he does that everywhere he goes. So even when the fair is not here, we're still benefiting. The state is benefiting from that impact from the fair, and that's why we're able to do the scholarships that we are. Pardon me?
When will the book be available?
The book will be available at next year's fair or shortly before then. Yes, sir.
Tell us about the group that circulates across the nation to bring the rides. They used to call them carnies years ago. Tell us about the culture of those people.
I said keep this short. Okay. Yes, that's an interesting question. That we've had the same company for several years. It's really all about relationships with them. They actually travel with a school. They're very much family. And when something happens to one of them, it's like someone happening to that family. Some of those people have been involved in that for years and years. So it's a neat story. I can talk to you a little bit more about that afterwards.
Nancy.
Yes.
Did that child stroking that chicken win that contest?
I don't know if the child with the poultry showmanship won, but he did. He won my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for being here and all the time you put into that presentation. I know the Creech family is very excited about next week and will be at the fair multiple times over that 12-day period. President-elect Louisa is not here today, but our speaker next week is our very own Cynthia Giles, and she's going to talk about cybersecurity. So for your business standpoint, I suggest you come and listen to what she has to offer, and we will stand and close in song.